Heroes of France, we're traveling all over France and tasting some of the legendary classic wines. And when we put this lineup together, I always get to put a little personal attachment to the wine. Why did I pick it? And Talbot's always been a wine that I think surprises to the upside. We have tasted all over France, going from Sancerre to Burgundy, to Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Provence, and now finishing in Bordeaux. And we have the great pleasure of showing the 2016. Bordeaux is a very important wine in the wine world, largest production area in France, and probably the most dollars, correct? Is that like a big dollar
That's,
generator?
yeah, that is the biggest vineyard for value in France, actually. Yeah, definitely.
And in talking to you just before we started recording, I found out that Chateau Talbot is actually the second largest estate in Saint-Julien.
Mhm.
You say the fourth largest in classified growths?
Exactly, yeah. 110 hectares, so that's roughly around 270 acres. So yeah, that's a big estate. We produce around 600,000 bottles a year, including the two reds and the white. So that's a lot.
And looking at the facility behind you, which is
Mm.
magnificent.
That's the barrel cellar. Yeah, the new and big barrel cellar built in 2012, so already 10 years old. It can receive 1,000 barrels on the ground. So that means that we can lodge a lot of them in it.
Our picture is Nancy Bignon Cordier, which is, did I pronounce that okay, Jean-Michel?
Perfect.
Oh,
Perfect.
not very often.
Nancy Bignon Cordier. Yeah, she's a courtier, basically. So she just before her wedding, she was a courtier. And she is representative of the fourth generation of the Cordier family owning the estate. So they bought Chateau Talbot in 1918. And she is now in charge personally of the estate. And the children, three children from the fifth generation, are coming along to help her into the management of the estate.
Tell us about your journey getting to Talbot, and did you grow up wanting to be a winemaker?
Not really, because I'm not from Bordeaux originally. I'm from Toulouse, which is also the southwest region of France. Not really known for its wine, actually. There is nothing really interesting around. I discovered wine pretty late when I was 20 years old, and I discovered wine in California, actually. My first experience in winemaking was in Mendocino County as an intern, so in 1996. And that's the place where I really fell in love with the wine business and with winemaking, basically. So I graduated from an agriculture school in Toulouse, and Toulouse being not that far from Bordeaux, I decided to move to Bordeaux to find a job, and I began my career in Bordeaux in 2000. But basically, it's chance only. I didn't schedule to do everything about in wine business before getting in love with it.
Very good. And your time at Talbot, how long have you been there?
A bit more than 5 years. So I had a few different positions in Bordeaux. The longest one was in Pomerol, where I managed an estate in Pomerol for 11 years, and I became a courtier. So a courtier in Bordeaux is a broker, so a kind of an intermediary between the négociants, the merchants, and the chateaux, the estates. And then I went back to the estate point of view, which basically is my passion and what I'm made for. So I came back to the estates in 2018, managing Talbot.
Beautiful. For those of you that aren't familiar, here's a map of
Mm.
Bordeaux, and you can see Saint-Julien on the map. So the property has a history prior to the courtier ownership going back to 1453. And a lot of the Bordeaux houses are connected to English government,
Mm-hmm.
and They loved their claret, and this was certainly their basically their wine region. And the English are still today massive
Yeah,
collectors of Bordeaux, and
exactly.
really help set the initial pricing with their investments.
Mm,
And it's a very interesting business model.
yeah.
Things have been changing a lot in the last 20 years, though, the way these wines are distributed and purchased, and I'd say it's for the better.
Mhm.
And Talbot is definitely on the upper. The arrow is pointing up as we see some really nice quality of distribution, and
Mhm.
the wines deliver incredible value, get great scores, have, like I said earlier, amazing ageability. This is the Chateau. Is anyone in residence at the property?
Not full time, because the family lives in Paris. Because Mr. Bignon, so the husband from Madame Bignon Cordier, used to be a lawyer, so he was based in Paris. So that's basically where they live most of the time. But they come to Talbot very, very often. So they stay sort of like 3 or 4 months a year at Talbot, and when they come, of course, they live in the chateau. So it's if you have the chance to come and see us and have a lunch or dinner in the chateau, you'll see pictures from the family. So it's not only a chateau for picture and marketing stuff. So it's really a place where the family lives when they come down.
Fantastic. Well, we'll have to talk about bringing our group to see you in May. We are
Mhm.
taking a group to Bordeaux, and we'd love to come and visit.
Yeah,
And
please, please do so.
tonight we're tasting the 2016 wine,
Mm.
and it is a blend of Cabernet Merlot and Petit Verdot. Are the blends year to year pretty similar, or do they change?
Um, Yeah, yeah, they are pretty similar because, of course, we rely on our vines and on our vineyards, so we don't change that from a year to another. But in the last 10 years, what we can see is that we do increase the percentages of Cabernet Sauvignon in the blend, um, because, of course, with global warming, Cabernet Sauvignon is much more adapted to these new conditions. It rips better than before, and also it permits us to lower the alcohol content, because of course with Merlot it gets higher in sugar and so in alcohol. So Cabernet Sauvignon is probably one of the first answers that we can give to the global warming at the moment, and so we use it more than before in the blend. But 65 cab in 2016 was in the average of these vintages around.
95 points Wine Spectator. Just a universally loved wine, vintage, house, very consistent.
Mm.
And that's what I think Bordeaux has worked very hard to deserve, is the reputation, the house reputation. And I think Talbot is a overachiever, always
Mm.
one of the best values in Bordeaux. And you're going to taste it tonight. What is the typical experience that you like to educate people about when they're about to taste a Talbot? What do you have them looking forward to?
We are pretty happy to say that Talbot is kind of an archetype of Saint-Julien. So I really want to let people know our philosophy about balance. And Saint-Julien, people usually say that Saint-Julien is a balance between Margaux and Pauillac, with the power of Margaux and the finesse, the elegance of Margaux, the power of Pauillac and the finesse and elegance of Margaux. And that's really what we want to achieve at Talbot. So when people try and taste Talbot, I want them to realize that even if we do have 2/3 of Cabernet Sauvignon in the blend, so it's basically a powerful and tannic wine, we have very soft tannins. So we don't want to dry, we don't want to get any astringency. So we really want to focus about the pleasure of the tasting and to enjoy the wine for what it is and not for what it's going to be maybe in 20 or 30 years. So balance in the wine.
And what do you say to people that want to drink the wine now?
For 16, you mean, or basically?
16,
For
16
16,
obviously allows us to enjoy it,
yeah.
but there's like this fantastic curve, this wisdom that the wine picks up with 20
Mm,
plus years. And not everybody wants to wait 20 years to drink this wine. But
mm,
currently, I think the wine is beautifully structured, and that balance is here already.
mm.
Um, we see this wonderful Cabernet profile. I love that sense of walking into a Bordeaux Chateau and smelling that, I call them expensive spa-like aromas, things like coffee, chocolate,
Mm,
eucalyptus, mint,
mm.
all of that coming together, a little vanilla. And I really enjoy seeing this wine. I often do dinners where we taste the young vintage next to a really old wine, and we call it now and then. And
Mhm.
it's a great way to really
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah, and
why
to
is the
understand the
wine.
estate. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
The main difference between now and 20 years or 30 years ago is that we now harvest berries and grapes when they are ripe. So you are not obliged anymore to keep the wines for 20 or 30 years until the tannins get soft. Um, we know that nowadays not everybody is able to get to have a cellar, to have a wine fridge or whatever, and does not have the patience anymore, including myself, to wait 20 years to drink the wines. So we now in Bordeaux and elsewhere in the world have both the know-how and the machines that permit us to have the possibility to drink the wines when they are young and to age them. We probably make wines with as much tannins as 20 years ago, but the difference is not that these tannins are ripe. So even if you want to drink a 2020 now, it's an infanticide because it will be much better in 10 years, but you can. You can drink it. You can take a pleasure of it. Of course, it will miss a bit of complexity, but it will be rounded, elegant, soft, creamy, and you can get in touch with it.
I think that's a super point to make. 30 years ago, they were picking Bordeaux in general, just picking everything,
Mm.
everything.
Yeah.
And the selection process and the machines. Are you using an optical sorter?
Yeah, for Chateau Talbot, it's optical sorting, and for Connetal, for the second label, it's more densimetric, bath sorting.
Very good. So these are state-of-the-art techniques for making sure the
Mm.
best fruit is accepted and the fruit that doesn't meet the criteria is refused. And that's what's elevating these wines. And
Mm.
I tell everyone, there were great vintages in the past. How are the current vintages? Well, the houses have really leveled the playing field. So even in a great vintage or a difficult vintage, you're seeing
Mm.
quality that we never achieved before. And
Yeah.
wine has never been better. And
Mm.
honestly, I think the price points have never been better. The competition is fierce, and houses are priced to perfection because this is what the market will pay for the wines, and they make a good amount of wine. But this is a great time to be a wine consumer, and
Mm.
your house is a testament to quality and very much in line with the quality that we're tasting tonight. The price point, I think it's beautifully done, and you're one of my favorite houses in Bordeaux. And I
Thank
thank
you.
you for your time this morning.
My great pleasure. Enjoy.